I grew up in Houston, Texas, and so all the way from the time I was born to the time I was in the fifth grade, I was living basically southwest of the city,
Okay.
and I loved it. I loved it. My parents were divorced growing up, so it was just my mom, but we had a big extended family unit
Right.
of some of her friends from Jamaica. They all kind of moved over together. They knew each other.
Right.
So I always felt like I had a big family around, even though it was really just me, my mom, and my two brothers.
Right.
Um, yeah, growing up, my mom raised us, a lot of values. We went to church every Sunday. She wanted us to make good grades in school.
Yep.
And basketball was a love of mine, but basketball always came after those other things. So I just learned priorities from the time I was young. And then in the sixth grade, I moved north to Houston and started going to a Christian private school.
Okay.
And the reason I went there initially was just to play basketball. That was my lure there.
Right.
And then I got there and I met the guy who was the father figure of my life. He was my basketball coach. He was a great guy. I ended up living with him my sixth grade year. So I would live with him 5 days out the week.
Wow.
And then I would go home. I would go back home to Houston, which was about an hour and a half away, on weekends.
Right.
And then it got to a point where I loved it so much that I didn't even go back home on weekends. And then it got to a point where my mom realized that I didn't even want to leave the place, so we ended up moving our whole family up there when I was in the seventh grade. Wow. And so I finished seventh grade through high school at this private school, and so that was growing up life for me.
Okay. What drew you to basketball?
Just the fun of it, and it's just something I started watching. My mom was a basketball fan.
Oh.
So when I was 2 or 3, she was watching games. She was watching the Houston Rockets all the time. So I just watched with her, and I saw it. It looked like the most fun thing ever. I played it all the time with my friends. Played in a driveway. It's one of those games you can play anywhere, with anybody. And I like what basketball does, where it brings people together.
Yeah.
People you probably never talk to, you talk to because you play basketball with them or against them.
Yeah.
So that's what got me.
Okay. Now, in Houston, was it at that point the Oilers were still there?
Oh yeah, the Oilers was a team. Warren Moon.
Right. So
Warren Moon
was it more of an Oilers city or a Rocket city?
It was more of an Oilers city. However, the Rockets were right behind them.
Right.
Akeem Olajuwon was there.
Right.
And so it was good times. We had guys, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, who's now a famous commentator today.
Yeah.
We always had good teams, but at the time, you couldn't outdo Warren Moon.
Right.
So it was an exciting sports city all around at the time. It's not like how it is now, where you have the Texans, which is a new team, and I mean, people go to the games, but there's not really any excitement around it.
Right.
And even with the Rockets, they're doing okay, but nobody really cares like that anymore. You go to a Rockets game now, you can buy a ticket for the top of the arena, and then you can find your way from seats in the middle of the arena. Back in the day, you couldn't do that because it was all full.
Wow. And is it one of those cases that they've just not been able to what can I say, have the players and the formula that you need to be successful?
I think that's it. They just don't have the draw or the attraction. Like I said, back in the day, they had Akeem Olajuwon, and you knew with Akeem that the team was going to win and always going to be in a position to start battling for playoffs or championships. Even before they started winning championships in the mid '90s, they were battling. They were playing tough playoff series. And when you look at the team the past few years, they banked on Tracy McGrady being one of the main figures, but that didn't work out well. They banked on Yao Ming. He's been in and out of injury. Now he's retired. Yeah. So they need to get a staple guy that people can be excited about, and then I think you'll start seeing some excitement come back.
Right. Do you think there's a couple of players in college basketball that could really help them?
Not to the point where it's going to bring them back to what they used to be.
Right.
I mean, there's guys who can come in and, even if they got the number one pick, Anthony Davis, he'll come in, he'll be able to play, but, he's not going to be any better than the guys who are already superstars in the NBA. Not right now.
Yeah.
Eventually he might get there.
Yeah.
But not right now. That's like asking, okay, who would you take right now? Anthony Davis or Joe Johnson from the Atlanta Hawks, or Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, because those are the people you're asking them to come in and compete against to change the franchise. So, I don't think there's anybody this year in college, but maybe somebody overseas. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you think there's a veteran player that's in the NBA right now that they could, or a couple that they could pull in to start to get that momentum that they need?
Yeah, I think that there's a few. I just don't know how they're going to get them because they don't have a lot of value to give away like that for one of the superstars.
Yeah.
I think they need a superstar. They need one of the guys. Like I said, it's going to be an attraction to get the city excited again. Houston is such a big city that if you don't have an attraction, nobody cares. There's other stuff they can go do in the town.
Right.
You know, it's one of the fourth largest cities in the world, or in the country. I'm sorry. And so, you know, if you don't have something, people aren't gonna. They're not going to dread about it. They're going to go find something else to go do.
Yeah, yeah. Now, it's, your passion for the game of basketball is evident in the way you speak about it. Did you play any other sports growing up, or was basketball it?
Basketball was the primary sport, and any other sport I played or participated in was just to help me in basketball. So I ran track in high school.
Okay.
But I did it with some of my teammates, and we did it only to try to get faster for basketball.
Okay.
I also I played soccer.
Oh, okay.
I think in the fall of my freshman year of high school, and again, some of my teammates and I did it just to get in shape for basketball season.
Right.
So that was it. Looking back at it, because now I play some tennis every once in a while. I love tennis.
Right. Okay.
And I wish I had played a little bit more tennis.
Right, that was something that you feel that you're pretty skilled at.
Yeah, I felt like I could be pretty good at it.
Right.
You know, and I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. No football? You didn't try football out?
No football, man. You see them hits? You see that guy for the New Orleans Saints right now that's getting fired?
Yeah.
That could have been me. They could have been coming after me like that.
I tell you what, I love football, but this whole deal that's come up is it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky because what's starting to happen now is veteran players are coming out and saying, well, this is a typical speech.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
Well, where does the commissioner go? What direction and angle does he have to take? And
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to basketball, when did you
Mhm.
know you were good? What was happening, and you were like, hey, I'm good at this?
In the third grade, I knew I was pretty good because I was the best player in my school, in my elementary school.
All right.
And I beat all the fourth graders. I beat all the fifth graders. My team in our local youth league was always winning.
Okay.
You know, I would see all the coaches. They try to get me on the draft day when they pick teams.
Yeah.
So I knew I was good, and it wasn't an arrogance or anything. It's just, you know, I knew that I was pretty good at this, and I wanted to get better at it, and I wanted to be good at it.
Yeah.
And it just continued to grow. You know, when I got to the sixth grade, I was just telling somebody this last night. When I was in the sixth grade, I really legitimately believed that I was the best sixth grader in the entire world.
Wow.
And there wasn't anything that somebody could have told me to make me believe otherwise. Now, of course, I didn't know any better, but I really felt that way. I felt like I could step on the court with any sixth grader.
Okay.
And you know, as you start to get older, you get a little bit more realistic, you start becoming aware of some of the other good players all around the country and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that happened. I still felt that I was pretty good, but I knew, okay, hey man, I got a long way to go. Got a lot of work to still put in.
Right. And you were doing summer camps every year?
Yeah, all the time.
Right.
All the time. I'd be at summer camps in the state of Texas. I traveled to some outside of the state. It was all over.